Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Okay, so we have been talking about drugs, the pharmacomedical model, the model of disease, the modern medical model is what I call it, which is a term that was coined by a guy named R.D. Laing, L-A-N-I-G. He was a psychiatrist. He wrote an essay back in the early 1970s, and he was the first person to come up with the term modern medical model, or he called it the medical model. I call it the modern medical model, and his definition of the medical model involved a lot of the stuff that we rip on every day on this program. Diagnostics, for example, diagnoses. In fact, the medical model, as defined by Dr. Laing, involved diagnosis and normal. I call it norm and name because it presupposes that there's a normal way that the body should be, and when it's not normal, doctors name how it's not normal, and then you get billed for it. That's the idea of diagnostics. That's the only reason why diagnostics are important as far as medicine goes. You don't get better by being diagnosed. You don't get better if you know that your problem is in your brain or your ear or your bones or wherever it is. That's because the body breaks down as a system. The body is a system. This notion of systems is only 50, 60 years old. You know, the medical model of diagnosing and naming and drugging is really eons old, but it didn't get going in a big way until the middle of the 19th century when we figured out how to make chemicals. This was the birth of the modern medical model. The medical model, as Dr. Laing described it, is millennia old. It's since Sumeria, since Babylon, when doctors would see something that wasn't normal and then they name it. But the modern medical model really began in the middle of the 19th century when we figured out how to use drugs, how to make drugs. Not just use them. They were always been used as herbs, but how to make them. And then they figured out how much profit margin was there, and the model got nailed into place, and it ain't going nowhere. It is entrenched because of all the money that's in it. You know, chemicals are cheap. Nutrition's expensive compared to chemicals. Drug chemicals, unbelievably cheap. When you talk about profit margins, pharmaceuticals are the ultimate profit margin winners. You're talking thousands upon thousands of percent in profit margin. This is why the Rockefellers got involved. And if you want to read a good book on the Rockefellers and pharmacy, or pharmaceuticals, I should say, get a book called The Drug Story by Morris Beall, B-E-A-L-L-E. Anyway, once they figured out how much money was in this thing, the model got nailed into place, and it ain't going nowhere. Even though today, over the last 40 or 50 years, anyway, since maybe the post-World War II, we've learned that the body's a system. We've learned about systems. There's a division of physics, a school of physics, if you will, or a part of physics called systems theory. Systems theory is high-tech physics. It's the physics of how systems work. And it says that a system is a device, or it's an entity that's made up of many parts that are all interactive, where you can't take one part out without changing the system. The body is such a system. You can't take one part out. You can't drug a part. You can't emphasize a part in your medical treatment without affecting the whole system. That's system. That's part of systems theory, which is part of physics. Quantum physics told us the same thing. You can't start manipulating parts without affecting the whole system. This is how drugs work. This is how medicine works. It takes out parts. That's why doctors think it's okay to take out your gallbladder, because they don't know it's part of the system. Or they know it if you told them it was, but the impact of it hasn't really hit home. So they think it's okay to take out a uterus. Oh, you don't need that silly little thing. They don't know that your uterus is connected to your breast, and it's connected to your blood, and it's connected to your liver, and it's connected to the entire set, to your brain, to your stomach, to your intestine. You're going to mess everything up. This is why, you guys, you can't just take out an organ. You can't just take out an organ. And I know we rip on doctors, but this is our responsibility. If your doctor says to take out an organ, you better think long and hard about the future impact, even if it seems like it's just your silly little gallbladder. The ultimate example of the dishonesty, the rip-off, the anti-humanity nature of the pharmacomedical model are these new anti-diabetes drugs. I don't want to say the ultimate example, but a classic example. Have you noticed this explosion in anti-diabetic drugs? Drug companies are just tripping all over themselves because of all the diabetes that's out there. So now you got a new class of drugs, Invokana. I just pick on Invokana, but there's actually 3 of these drugs in this new class of drugs. Invokana just really irritates me because of their commercial, Love Your Numbers, which is just in your face about this idea of loving your numbers. Who cares how you feel? It's about your numbers. Most anti-diabetic drugs work with insulin. They'll stimulate its secretion. They'll make cells more sensitive to insulin. Insulin, we said, is a garage door opener. It opens up cells so that nutrients, especially sugar, can get into the cell. This is how the body works. This is how cells work. It's all about the cell, and the cell needs to be fed, and sugar is a food for the cell. And so insulin opens up the garage door in a cell, the sugar gets in. When we have insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, the garage door opener doesn't work and the sugar builds up in the blood. The importance of insulin is it'll lower blood sugar. So insulin has to be sensitized, has to be sensitive, has to work because the sugar has to go from the blood into the cell via the garage door. All right, we'll finish up when we come back from our break. 844-236-6010 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this.
Why be held hostage by your wireless carrier for 2 years? What if you had no contract, no activation fees, no hidden costs, tracking, tracing, harvesting customer data, or draconian gimmicks, all on the nation's best 4G LTE network? Introducing Pix Wireless. Bring your phone and other qualifying devices to Pix and choose a plan starting at only $14 a month. Get connected now. Call or click 1-866-267-2056 or pixwireless.com. Spelled P-I-X, wireless.com. Pick Pix and get connected today.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online, and I found it. It's buysellmakeoffer.com, a brand new company that's the newest and best way to sell products online. You can even use Skype or video to sell your car, home, any product. You get 30 days free, packages starting from only $7.95, and buysellmakeoffer.com never charges item fees ever. Just go sign up, then load your stuff to sell. I love this site, buysellmakeoffer.com. Got it? Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
You haven't experienced yogurt until you've tried a Mossy, embodying health and flavor in a true whole milk, green-fed dairy beverage. Every sip pays homage to our old world cows and the ancient culturing methods their milk benefits from. With over 30 probiotics, a Mossy's undeniably nutritious, refined, cultured sensation bolsters your health and awakens your passion for dairy. A Mossy's so good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
Ted Anderson telling you about Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic Green-Fed Raw Cheddar Artesian Cheese featuring whole milk created through ancient dairy breeding, unpasteurized, untreated whole milk on the same farm the cows graze, containing natural sources of omega-3s, CLA protein, calcium, probiotics, and enzymes. I have never tasted cheese this good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
If you're on a med, if you're on a blood sugar medication, if you're dealing with diabetes or blood sugar issues, and by the way, you don't have to have an official diagnosis of diabetes to have messed up blood sugar. I would venture to say the vast majority of Americans do have problems with blood sugar, even if they're not officially diagnosed as a diabetic. The official designation of a diabetic, as we've said, with all diagnosis involves statistics and numbers and actuarial tables, and really isn't indicative of whether or not our blood sugar is being controlled or not. So you can pretty much rest assured if you have a little belly going on where you never had a belly before, or if you have perhaps some blood pressure issues, or if you have eczema or you have psoriasis or you have any kind of chronic degenerative disease, you can pretty much rest assured that you got a blood sugar problem. And all the strategies we talk about, eating less food, caloric restriction, fasting, using your B vitamins, using your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, using your Sweeties, using Fuchs, eating more fiber and veggies, drinking more water after meals. These are all wonderful, awesome strategies for lowering blood sugar that will benefit diabetics, official diabetics, and non-official diabetics, which is most of us. Alpha lipoic acid is used as a drug to control blood sugar in Europe. You have to go out of your way to get alpha lipoic acid in the health food store, 400 milligrams a day. Vitamin E, we've talked about that for lowering blood sugar. Vitamin C can help lower blood sugar. I mean, there's just so many ways. Magnesium, selenium. It's nearly endless. Sulfur, MSM. It's nearly endless, the strategies we have for lowering our blood sugar, and of course, not eating the sugar. Nobody sprinkles sugar on our head from the clouds. Blood sugar is an eating issue. Yet we have this unbelievable bombardment of nonsensical medical information, pharmacomedical information, and pharmacomedical products that we're supposed to buy to lower our blood sugar. Latest is Invokana and a couple of drugs like Invokana. It's high-tech, super-duper high-tech. Most drugs work with insulin. Most of the drugs work to improve the sensitivity or the effects of the garage door opener. The latest way doesn't involve insulin at all. Actually, other drugs involve the intestine. Some of them will keep carbohydrates in the intestine, so you'll eat your carbs, but they won't get into your blood. You'll excrete them. The latest way, though, that's the Invokana way. That affects the kidneys, which is the organ that's responsible for dumping sugar out of the body, or not. The kidneys control how much sugar will be in the blood via either eliminating the sugar from the blood or sucking it back up. Remember, sugar is important stuff. So over the course of evolution, we developed these mechanisms for sucking sugar back up into our blood, not losing it, not urinating it out, because there wasn't any sugar on the African savanna. So if you had a little sugar, the body conserved it. This is the brilliance, the utter, unbelievable, mind-blowing brilliance of the human body. It has evolved a system to conserve things that it thinks are not around. Well, it doesn't know the last 200 years to the body. That's nothing. That's like a minute. That's like a second to the body. So the body has these mechanisms in place for sucking sugar up. It's called resorption. It sucks sugar back up into the blood from the kidneys. Well, drug companies got the brilliant idea. They're like, okay, well, what if we stop that resorption from happening? What if we poison the kidney? This is how drug companies think. And they never call it poison, of course. They call it inhibiting. That's the kind way of saying, it's a euphemistic way of saying poison. So they said, let's see, glucose, sugar is dumped out in the kidneys. It's sucked back into the kidneys, into the blood from the kidneys. So maybe if we do something to that little junction where the sugar gets sucked up and keep it from getting sucked up, maybe we can lower blood sugar. And of course, you can. That's what happens. But you can't do it nicely. You got to poison the kidney. This is how these new drugs work. This is how Invokana works. There's 3 of these drugs, Farxiga, Jardiance, and Invokana. And you see them just pounded. We are pounded with commercials for these things, which are darn expensive. Jardiance, Invokana, Farxiga. Of course, your insurance company will pay for it. The government will pay for it. But the drug companies, they're drooling over this financial windfall. And that's why we get these commercials. You cannot go an hour on TV without seeing a commercial for either Farxiga, Jardiance, or Invokana, which is the one that just gets my goat the most. So it poisons the kidneys. It forces them to dump out sugar. For millions of years, we didn't have sugar, and the body evolved a system for sucking it up. Well, Farxiga takes care of that. Reading from the package insert, I should say Invokana. This is a package insert of Invokana. Invokana is, and this is what they call it now, an S inhibitor. Technically, a sodium glucose cotransporter 2 inhibitor. SGLT2 inhibitor. I'm going to call it an S inhibitor or a kidney inhibitor. It inhibits the kidneys from sucking the sugar back up. Now remember, diabetes affects the kidneys. If you have diabetes, you have blood sugar problems, it's not very long before you're going to have a kidney problem. In fact, the number one cause of kidney disease is diabetes and blood sugar problems, even if you're not diagnosed, because sugar caramelizes things, and it caramelizes tiny little vessels. The worst things that can, the most significant things that can get caramelized, and just think of caramel, chewy, sticky caramel in your mouth. You know, the stuff that sticks in your teeth, that's the stuff that's in your blood over time, and that obviously mucks up the works. You know, there's an old joke about, or not a joke, but an old wives' tale that when you're mad at somebody, you put sugar in their gas tank. Well, it's the same idea. Sugar destroys things. Little bit you need, small amounts you need, but lots of it destroys things, especially destroys small blood vessels in the eyes. That's why eye disease and diabetes go hand in hand. Blindness and diabetes, glaucoma and diabetes, cataracts and diabetes. The tiny blood vessels in your fingers and toes and your extremities, that's called neuropathy. Nerve pain associated with breaking up of these blood vessels. Diabetes is a cause of amputation of toes and fingers and hands and feet. And the tiniest blood vessels of all, or maybe the tiniest blood vessels of all, in the kidneys. So you got a disease that affects the kidneys. Now you're going to take a drug that affects the kidneys. Who came up with this idea? Why? How can a medical professional think this is okay? You got a blood sugar problem which affects the kidneys. So now you're going to take a drug which especially shuts down or inhibits kidney function. Oh, but you're going to block your glucose. That's true. Your glucose is going to be dumped out. You know, you're going to block resorption of glucose, sure. But now what? What's the next step? And not only, by the way, is kidney damage going to be a problem, but now you've opened up this entire Pandora's box of other side effects. By messing around with the resorption process, the sucking up of sugar process, you're going to lose other things, because resorption of minerals is important too. It's not just sugar that gets resorbed. Calcium gets resorbed. So as you're losing sugar, you're going to be losing calcium. This is one of the side effects of these kinds of drugs. Loss of calcium, bone fractures, kidney stones, fatigue, depression. Did your doctor tell you that if you're on Invokana? Well, it can't help but happen because you can't. It's a system. The kidney is a system. You can't just knock out one little piece of it. You're going to knock everything out. So not only will you not be resorbing glucose, but you're not going to be resorbing calcium either. All right, I'm Pharmacist. I'm going to finish up when we come back from our break, and we'll get your calls too. 844-236-6010. So Invokana, Farxiga, I don't even know how they come up with these names. That's an interesting. Somebody should look into that. I have never been able to figure out how they come up with the names. Farxiga, Jardiance, and Invokana. There's the latest S inhibitor drugs. They inhibit S, which is an element of the kidney that dumps out glucose, or absorbs glucose, I should say, and by inhibiting it, glucose gets dumped out. But so do other things. That's the problem. You can't just target one thing. The dirty little secret of all medicine. You can't just target one thing. The dirty little secret of all drug medicine. You can't just target one system. They call them side effects. They're not side effects. They're effects. When they call them side effects, that makes you think that they're like a little oopsie, that's just a little thing that you get on the side. No, it's an effect. It's not a side effect. It's an effect every bit as much as the effect you're looking for, because drugs affect things. They create changes in the system. You can't just have a drug that affects one system. So with Farxiga and Invokana and Jardiance, these S inhibitor drugs, your body will dump out glucose, but guess what? It's also going to dump out calcium. And that's why bone fractures are a major side effect. Not to mention the fact that now you're toxing out the kidneys, which is one of the major targets for sugar toxicity. That's why if you look in the package insert, it'll tell you right in the package insert, and we should all be reading the package inserts if we're going to be taking drugs. Everybody needs to be reading the package insert if you are going to take a drug. It'll tell you right in the package insert that it's going to, where is it here? Invokana increases serum creatinine, that's a measurement of kidney damage, decreases the filtration rate, that's a measure of kidney damage. It decreases kidney function, and you're already a diabetic. This is the nonsense, the craziness of this model of drugs. Oh, there's more. So your calcium, and this is absurd. So your calcium, it causes an increase in the loss of calcium because you're losing glucose and you're losing calcium together. That affects stone formation. So now you got to deal with kidney stones. It's going to make you more tired and fatigued. Your cells aren't going to work as well. And now you got low calcium, so your parathyroid hormone, which senses calcium in the blood, now your parathyroid hormone is going to go up, which in turn is going to lower vitamin D, and that causes another whole slew of problems. Heart disease, autoimmune disease, cancer. And your calcium might go up, but your potassium, you're going to end up with elevated potassium too, because potassium is balanced with calcium. So now you're going to be at risk for they call it hyperkalemia, too much potassium. You got all of these problems. They're all tied into things. You can't just take a drug and not expect to get other things happening. Oh, and with your elevated parathyroid hormone, now you're going to be at risk for potassium or phosphate deficiency. That can lead to depression. And that can lead to a problem making ATP, which is involved in energy. This is all from just one drug. And when you're low energy, by the way, you may crave sugar. So in this weird, indirect way, when you take your Invokana to lower your blood sugar, you're going to crave sugar via all of these other things that happen in association with the body dumping out glucose. It sounds ridiculous. I know. It sounds confusing. It sounds like a big mess. And it is a big mess. That's what happens. It's a big mess to the body. It's bad science. But we're not told this because of the billions, trillions of dollars in profit margin that are to be made here. But who's responsible ultimately? We are. And we can take control of this whole thing. You don't need a diabetes doctor. It's not like we're condemned to diabetes. It's a lifestyle issue. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll finish up talking about blood sugar, and I'm going to get into some stuff about inflammation. I'm going to talk about the lymph a little bit. We haven't talked about the lymph in a while, and that's involved too. The lymphatic system is your circulatory system for fats and for fatty vitamins, and super duper important when it comes to disease, also for steroid hormones. We started off this whole discussion talking about steroid hormones and vitamin E. And so much to talk about. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. Melody, welcome to the bright side. What's going on?
Hi, Ben. Good morning. I had a question. It's for a family member. It's regarding my brother. He, when he was 5 years old, he's 36 now. When he was 5, he stopped talking. So he's been diagnosed as autistic. And he doesn't really talk. He doesn't communicate very well. So I'm his caregiver, and I wanted to know specifically diet and supplement dose.
Sure.
He's on the Healthy Start Pack.
Is he definitely autistic? I'm sorry, hang on just one second, Melody. Is he definitely autistic? Do you know that for a fact?
No.
Okay.
That's what they don't know what he has. They don't know what happened.
Okay.
And, so I'm taking care of him.
Okay, well that's an interesting job. Are you getting paid, or are you just doing this voluntarily?
No, I mean he lives with us, and so
that's pretty awesome, Melody.
Yeah, he's very low maintenance. I mean, he goes to the program. He's pretty happy, but he's emotionally disconnected, and he can't talk. So I know he's got issues because of the symptoms.
Any other issues aside from being mute or not talking? Are there any other issues, health issues?
Well, physically, yeah, he used to have a lot of asthma, and that's been, he really doesn't have that anymore. I really changed his diet, like the no sugar. He does like soups. I cook a lot of
awesome.
I took him off of like very low carb. He's on the Healthy Start Pack.
Nice
stuff, but I just don't think he's getting enough of what he really needs, and it's more like of a dosage thing.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit.
That's what I really need help with.
Okay. First of all, for anybody out there listening, and also for you, Melody, there's a really neat book on autism and the digestive system called The Gut and Psychology Syndrome. GAP, and some people call it the GAPS diet. Dr. Natasha Campbell, I believe, is her name. And it's an awesome book about the link between the digestive tract, the intestine specifically, and the brain in autism. So autism needs to be regarded first and foremost as a food issue, digestive issue, food allergy issue. Secondly, autism is kind of an interesting diagnosis. What is it really? There are some symptoms like disconnection, and sometimes kids are mute, or there's violent behavior. There's sensitivities, emotional sensitivities that are associated with autism. But I'm not sure it's something that needs to be medically treated. However, from a nutritional standpoint, you want to think about those two systems if you want to deal with it nutritionally: the digestive system and the brain. All right, digestive system, that means all the things that you're doing: low sugar. Look for food digestive intolerances and eliminate them. I didn't hear you say probiotics. I assume he's on one of the probiotic supplements. If not, he should be. A nightly essence, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 3 at night. Fermented foods, if you can get him to do fermented foods, awesome. All fermented foods. Get a book called The Art of Fermentation, author named Katz, K-T-Z. Great book. And there's a ton of other things. Hang on, because we've got to take a break, Melody.
Okay.
Don't go away. We've got a few more things to say. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. We're talking to Melody in California about autism. So 2 places you want to work, Melody, are the brain and the gut. You sounds like you're doing a lot of things already with the ketogenic diet. You said the ketogenic diet or the low sugar diet?
No, it's not. Yeah, it's low sugar, low carb, and mostly like liquids. Like you said, it's less amount of stress on his digestive system.
Good for you.
He's very lean.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter how much I feed him, he doesn't put on any weight. So that's why I think there's something going on in his gut.
Then do the whole food diary thing. And I don't know how close you are to him, but have him check his bowel movements. That's your best indicator of what's going on in the gut. There's a lot of problem. Autistic kids, anyway. I don't know. I can't say the same thing for autistic adults, but autistic children classically will have all kinds of bowel movement, gas, digestive issues, cramping, bloating. It's pretty classic. So do the food diary thing, or have him pay attention to his foods. Let him know that there's a link between his foods and specific digestive symptomology, and then you're going to eliminate those foods. Of course, dairy and grains are always the first 2 things to think about, but it could be anything. Even vegetables can do it. Probiotics, fermented food, extremely important. Fiber, extremely important. Make sure he's using the nightly essence and the Fuchs Z, which can be very helpful. 9 capsules of each, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 3 at night of each. Fuchs Z and nightly essence. Enzymes can be very helpful for autism. Digestive enzymes, because a lot of the problems associated with the food inflammation and food and symptom link, where we eat foods and then we have inflammatory problems or autistic problems, has to do with foods not getting processed correctly because of enzyme deficiencies. So using digestive enzymes can be very helpful for folks dealing with blood issues or blood toxicity issues from food, leaky gut syndrome. You break up the foods with that, and this is especially important for autoimmunity. It doesn't get talked about anywhere near enough. Yeah, we talk about the foods, the link between foods, leaky gut syndrome, food particles getting into the blood inappropriately, initiating an inflammatory response. We talk about that a lot. But what we don't often say is that enzymes can help, whether you're taking them in the ultimate enzymes or whether you're getting them in food enzymes, veggie enzymes. Digestive enzymes you can improve the way your enzymes work by eating enzyme-rich food, sprouts, fresh vegetables, vegetable juices. Love veggie juices. You got to drink them fresh. And you don't need anything fancy. Not V8 I'm talking about here. I'm talking about making your own veggie juices. And you don't need anything fancy. Just one of those Ninja machines or a Vitamix where you just drop some celery and some beet with some water and some salt and spices. Boom. You got a delicious veggie juice. And if you heat it up, you got a veggie soup. So that's another thing to do.
Celery, beets, what other?
I don't even want to tell you because I want you to do it yourself. But personally, what I like to do is celery. Combinations can be very interesting. So I always combine celery with cucumber because celery has a little edge to it, a little bitter edge to it, and cucumber has a little sweetness to it, and the cucumber balances out the sweetness. And then if I throw a little half a tomato in, I find that the acid from the tomato has a neutralizing effect on some of the bitter flavor as well. So between tomato, and you have to you have to see what you like. Everybody's got their own taste. Between tomato, cucumber, celery, and then I like to put a little beet in there because a little sweetness. Between those 3 or 4 veggies, you can have great veggie juice, and always use salt and spices, as I say, in water. Super important for the digestive tract. It's filling. It's a great diet, a great way to lose weight. And the flavors from the spices and the salt are super delicious. Salt is very energizing, especially if you're low salt. And then there's the brain connection. B vitamins are your brain vitamins. Think B for brain, B for building, B for brain. They're your building vitamins and they're your brain vitamins. B vitamins deficiency is extremely common because we urinate them out. And they haven't talked about, we were talking about calcium excretion with Invokana. You may lose your B vitamins with that stuff too, just as an aside. That's a little digression there. That's not for you, Melody. So B vitamins, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, keep him on that. Maybe double his dose. See how he does with the double dose. Go functional. Functional dosing is when you take as much as you need. That means if you take, say, a teaspoonful in water and you notice great results, and then you do a teaspoon and a half in water and you notice even better results, and then you do 2 teaspoonfuls in water and you notice still better results, and then you notice you do 2.5 teaspoonfuls in water and you notice less results or no difference, you'll know that you need to be right around that 2 teaspoonfuls per bottle of water area. It's called functional dosing. Does that make sense, Melody? Keep upping?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Do functional.
And then one other thing, what about the EFAs? Because
I was about to say. I was about to tell you.
I know how much he needs of that.
Absolutely. I was about to tell you. So B vitamins, and then vitamin C probably will help in the electrolytes. You'll get those from the veggies. But then there's the whole fat component. And that's the fatty vitamins. And that's essential fatty acid. Vitamin E is a brain vitamin, in addition to being other things too, but it's a brain vitamin. But the brain's a fatty organ, so vitamin E protects the brain. We talked about it earlier for Alzheimer's, or last week I should say, for Alzheimer's, but also for autism, for other brain issues. And then omega fats, absolutely indispensable. And vitamin A, also very important. Vitamin D and vitamin K, don't ignore them, but especially vitamin E, vitamin A, and essential fatty acids, omega-3 especially. So that's your ultimate EFAs. Just your Healthy Start pack. Throw in the nightly essence, as well as the Fucoid Z, perhaps the ultimate enzymes, and then the ancillary nutrients like the E and the A that we just talked about, and then the whole dietary thing with the juices and elimination diet. I want to take a couple more calls here, Melody. Thank you so much.
Okay, just a quick question. How much of the vitamin E and the A?
400 IU on the vitamin E, 20,000 IU on the vitamin A is where I recommend you be.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Thanks, Melody. Bye. All right, Jennifer in Texas. Welcome to the bright side. Jennifer? We have Jennifer. And some problems with our phones here. Jennifer. Okay. Well, if you're there, Jennifer. All right, I'm going to let Jennifer, I can't hear you. I don't know if you're talking to me, but I don't have any calls, so call back. Try again. Jennifer? Jennifer's gone. All right, well, that's it. Hey Jennifer, if you're listening to the program, call back, because I got no calls and I got a couple minutes. But I do want to read some letters. I've been getting a lot of letters from Doc Wallach's appearance on the bright side. Dr. Wallach and on Coast to Coast. I should have Dr. Wallach on the bright side, but he was on Coast to Coast last week. We get tons of letters every time Doc goes on, or Dr. Glidden goes on, or I go on. George Norrie. So let me get to a couple of these letters if you guys are listening. Got one from, this one is from Wetold, I think he says his name. He says he's a Coast to Coast insider. He says his problem is varicose veins. Started a long time ago, got worse during pregnancy. Here's the deal with varicose veins. I get this question a lot. Varicose veins are hemorrhoids of the legs. Legs are hemorrhoids or varicose veins of the anal muscle. So they're the same idea. They're caused by clogging. They're caused by a backing up. If you have varicose veins, you got a digestive issue that involves clogging and backing up. And this notion of clogging is a generic way the body breaks down. Clogging always precedes degenerative disease. So varicose veins and hemorrhoids are signals that your body is starting to clog up. If you have them in conjunction with chronic degenerative disease, that's great news, because it means by moving the body around, improving circulation, you're going to eliminate and reduce, anyway, the symptoms of your chronic degenerative disease. And it's great that you can wear pressure stockings and do the mechanical things, but really what you want to think about is, why is the blood clogged in the first place? Clogged blood always needs to be backtracked first and foremost to the digestive system, and that means the food diary, and that means eliminating problem foods, and that means all the things we just talked about in terms of supporting the health of the bacteria in the intestine, fiber, as well as vegetables, ground up vegetables, vegetable juices, and then, of course, probiotics. Now, moving the body around is also important, and Whithold says that his friend with the varicose veins is physically active, but you never know how physically active is active. Personally, I like a rebounder. A rebounder is awesome because you jump up and down and it doesn't put any stress on the body. A lot of times we don't do the exercises we need to do because it puts a heavy stress on the joints. And so it's uncomfortable, or it causes pain later on down the road, or inflammation down the road. But a rebounder allows you to bypass all of that. And so does an inversion device, one of those hanging devices. They're a little bit more complicated, of course, but they are really, really effective. If you're dealing with any heart disease problems, if you're dealing with any blood pressure problems in conjunction with your varicose vein issues, guaranteed you've got a blood circulation problem, but also probably you have an oxygenation issue. And that's where your deep breathing techniques come in. It sounds weird, right? Deep breathing for hemorrhoids, deep breathing for varicose veins. But when you understand the mechanism of clogging blood, it makes perfect sense. So practicing deep breathing techniques is also important. Eliminating problem foods, practicing your deep breathing techniques is all for varicose veins and hemorrhoids. And then using probiotics and fermented foods. And then, of course, making sure you're on the Healthy Start Pack to get your 90 essential nutrients, which are the baseline, the minimum wage, the basics that everybody needs, no matter what your health challenge is. Even if you don't have a health challenge, you can find out all about it at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. If you want to check out our truth treatment products, you can check out truthtreatments.com. Thanks for listening, friends. Have an awesome, beautiful, spectacular, wonderful day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria, which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
Winter has just begun, and are you already tired of being cold? How would you like to never be cold again? This is Dale with Fortress Clothing, and I'm here to tell you, you will never be cold again with Fortress. If you're tired of freezing your butt off, elk hunting, sitting in a tree stand deer hunting, winter camping, fishing, ice fishing, no longer fear the cold. If you snowmobile, ski, snowboard, get Fortress. Sledding with the kids, shoveling the walks, shopping, or if you or your spouse get cold feet at home, get Fortress. If you're stuck outside working in the cold or find yourself in an emergency situation, get our winter bug out bag and you will never be cold again. Fortress is the answer, so quit complaining and go to fortressclothing.com. It's a mid-layer garment that goes with anything you want to wear. Enter coupon code RADIO and get 20% off any item. Go now while we still have inventory. fortressclothing.com.
If you're like me, you're concerned about the stock market and the economy. You're asking the questions, but it just doesn't seem that you're getting the right answers. Well, my friends at the Wealth Preservation Institute not only have the answers, but they've put together a free report, How to Survive the Upcoming Economic Collapse and Protect Your 401ks, IRA savings, and retirement income. Don't hesitate. This report's for free for a limited time by calling 888-772-2929. That's 888-772-2929. Take back your financial lives today.
Heart disease kills over 600,000 Americans every year. For heart health, Ben Fuchs recommends CardioFX.
CardioFX is a source of the B-complex vitamins. There's 120 milligrams of vitamin C per dose. So you're going to get your vitamin C, you're going to get your B-complex in the CardioFX. The CardioFX is also a source of sulfur in the form of N-acetylcysteine. Sulfur deficiency can lead to elevated homocysteine, and it is thought to be one of the major reasons why vegetarians are at higher risk in some countries, and based on some studies, for heart disease than folks who eat animal protein. It has something to do with the lower sulfur content of vegetarian diets, and you will get sulfur in the form of N-acetylcysteine in the CardioFX product. N-acetylcysteine can be converted into taurine. So all in all, it's a pretty well-rounded cardiovascular nutritional supplement.
Concerned about heart health? Order CardioFX by calling 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. Or on the web at brightsideben.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Are discovering the incredible benefits of alkalizing the body, and there's no better product for it than AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops. Packed with a powerful combination of the most alkaline minerals and compounds, just a few drops in water will rid your body of harmful waste and give you more vibrance and vigor than you've had in years. Now buy 2 bottles and get $10 off your order. Call 800-518-7615 or visit alkavision.com. Alkalize your body, supercharge your health at alkavision.com.
Why be held hostage by your wireless carrier for 2 years? What if you had no contract, no activation fees, no hidden costs, tracking, tracing, harvesting customer data, or draconian gimmicks, all on the nation's best 4G LTE network? Introducing Pix Wireless. Bring your phone and other qualifying devices to Pix and to choose a plan starting at only $14 a month. Get connected now. Call or click 1-866-267-2056 or pixwireless.com. Spelled P-I-X, wireless.com. Pick Pix and get connected today.
Hi, this is Walt Augustinowicz. I'm the founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. By now you've heard our commercials about wallets that protect you from electronic pickpocketing. 10 years ago, I created a way to protect my own cards from prying eyes after government officials started talking about issuing a national ID card with a built-in radio chip called RFID. I felt having to broadcast my personal information was an invasion of privacy. So Soon after, it was also announced that credit cards, debit cards, U.S. passports, hotel room keys, and even transit passes would all soon incorporate RFID. It was then I formed ID Stronghold to share my inventions in blocking RFID signals with the world. There are a lot of misconceptions out there today about RFID. I encourage everyone to get informed and get protected. Please go to idstronghold.com and get the facts and the wallet, sleeves, or badge holders you need to protect your personal financial data. You'll be pleasantly surprised that through our direct sales model, you won't pay more than other comparable unprotected wallets. It is as though the protection is free. Visit idstronghold.com today.
If survivalist housing has been in your plans, get ready. We're bringing our Timberline range camps to you February 6th through 14th, the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Get an up-close look at some of our most popular Timberline models, or visit survivalistcamps.com to pre-order a camp. We'll bring it to the show and save you the cost of shipping. It's the perfect time to get that camp you've wanted. Go to survivalistcamps.com, then plan on joining us at the Great American Outdoor Show in February in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
CardioFX from Youngevity is designed specifically to promote optimal heart health. That's why Ben Fuchs recommends it.
You might want to think about using the Ultimate CardioFX, which is a source of taurine. Each capsule in the CardioFX has got a good dose of the B vitamins. It's got 4 major B vitamins in there: vitamin B12, niacin, vitamin B6, and folic acid. Numerous research studies have shown that the B vitamins and homocysteine, that toxic chemical that builds up in the body under B vitamin deficiency states, numerous studies have talked about lowering homocysteine as being far more relevant for protecting the heart than cholesterol numbers. If I was dealing with heart disease, I would be making sure I was getting enough B vitamins, I was getting enough vitamin C before I even thought about dealing with cholesterol or LDL or HDL.
If you're concerned about the health of your heart, order CardioFX from Youngevity by calling 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. Or on the web at brightsideben.com. That's brightsideben.com.